This is the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
I'm not making any money talking these days. Good Christ. I'm a dick, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. Still am. I guess I am a decent guy because I'm a fucking jerk. And I'm not a jerk. Apparently I'm a dick. I'm not an awful guy, but I've done so much ridiculous stuff. I'm an awful guy. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. How are you, folks? I'm good. A late night record for you tonight, folks. I got to tell you, I'm not a fan. I think we all know I don't like working at night, although I've spent my entire life working at night. But I don't like doing this show at night because this show, you got to get the show out of the way. I guess that's how I feel about it. It's because right now, folks, it is 12:25 a.m. Thursday morning. So it's like Wednesday night because normally, here you go, folks. Here's a little behind the curtain for you. I'll grab a curtain and pull it up for you. Normally, the show's recorded on Wednesday afternoon. And then Lily and I will carefully sit down with the other people at the Podcasting Network. We'll pick out what the animation's going to be. We'll order up the animation from Mex Inc. And then we will also sit down and figure out what commercial spots are going to go in, who's in the rotation, we'll knock it all down, folks. So there's plenty of time to do it because, again, the show is recorded between 3 and 4. And by recorded by between, I mean I show up between 3 and 4. And then Lily and I talk until 5:30. And then I do a podcast until 7:30. And then we do all that stuff and I leave. Well, tonight, it couldn't happen, folks. There's been a rip in the podcast time continuum because, unfortunately, I'm a 42-year-old man who had to sit in a tow truck today, folks. Why? Fucking why? Honestly, if you are over the age of 30 and you need a tow truck for anything other than an accident, just fucking reevaluate your life. Sit back and take the time to think about the mistakes you've made and how you're going to rectify them. God damn it. And I know people will be like, hey, man, accidents happen. And true, it's not like I fucking ran out of gas. If I run out of gas, because Karen and I will be driving, and she has the hybrid, and it'll light up the little thing where it's like, oh, the little gas tank's lit up. You're 8 miles away from, and I'll go, Karen, we need to get gas. She'll be like, I'm fine. It's a hybrid. I'm like, dude, it doesn't mean there's leprechauns in there pissing gas into your fucking gas tank. They don't live in there just constantly regenerating the gas. You need to put fucking gas in here. Because I'll tell you what, if I'm 42 and you're your age, if we run out of gas, that's it. Kill us. Kill us. If I'm pushing a fucking car that hit E at my age, just fucking cut a hole in my throat. Honestly, when you're young, you run out of gas, okay, because you're stupid. And you're like, I can make it. Or you do like I did. Here's something I did, folks. One time I'm driving in a car, and this is a Chevy Caprice Classic, and it was a classic. This is your first car that Mike Schmidt ever owned. And Mike Schmidt got a late start on driving, folks. Mike didn't learn to drive till he was 18. And also, just 5 years before that, he learned to talk about himself in the third person. Stupid. So I didn't start driving until I was 18 because here's what I did, folks. I said in high school, what's this, driver's ed? I'm going to fail that. Why not? Why wouldn't you? Who the fuck wants to drive? I got no interest in that. My friends drive. They can pick me up. So I decided I was going to fail driver's ed. I didn't really decide it. It was decided for me. And here's how. You know how in driver's ed, you go out in a car with several of your friends and a teacher. Well, the teacher I went out on the road with was a guy named Rumchak. Mr. Rumchak. And here's all you need to know about Rumchak. Driver's ed teacher / wrestling coach. Yeah, that's Bill Rumchak. So we get out to the car with Rumchak, and the way it works is, you're in the car, and it's Chinese fire drill. Someone drives a block, and then they parallel park, and they pull over, and they, all right, spin it. And everybody moves except Rumchak. He sits there in the passenger seat scowling. He doesn't fuck around. He just sits there with his clipboard and dreams of cauliflower ears. That's all he does. He sits there marking off his check. He's like, oh, we got to get downstate. and he's marking off all the mistakes you make. He's not even looking up. You're driving, and you're white-knuckling, and you're praying not to make a mistake, but you don't realize Rumchak over there is thinking about a singlet. He's got no interest in you or your driving capacities. He's thinking about what's going to happen at practice when he's going to make Larry Bagwell run the fucking bleachers. All right, so why does Bagwell haunt me? Damn you, Bagwell! Someday he'll die, and I'll like, it'll be like in a monster movie where I'm in bed, and all of a sudden I'll just like, my eyes will fucking fly open. It'll be, Bagwell's dead! Finally! Long live the Bagwell! All right, so we go out with Rumchak, and Rumchak is, again, he doesn't care. You know how it is with coaches. They don't fucking, they're teachers second, and they're, you know, we had the Silver Fox. Phil Acton was our football coach, but he also taught like business ed. Well, fuck business ed. You know what business ed was? It was Phil Acton putting out an overhead projector, going, write these notes down, and sitting down and then designing plays in a notebook. And all of his plays, by the way, involved going off tackle. That was Phil Acton's playbook. Phil Acton's playbook was go off tackle with Eric Hill and then have my son Gordon kick long field goals. That was it. That was the whole thing. Because where I went to high school, Bolingbrook High was tailback U, or tailback high. I guess it wasn't really a U. It was more of a high. So we're there at tailback high, and that's how the coaches work it. Bob Mitchell, basketball coach. Bob Mitchell was he was a gym coach, so he was at least technically still in the gym. But it didn't matter. He'd turn you loose on fucking intramurals. He'd go, all right, everybody, we're going to play European handball today. And then he'd throw a ball in the middle of the gym, and everybody would run at it like wolves, and then he'd hide. And he'd diagram pick and rolls all afternoon. That's what he did. And Bob Mitchell, not very good at diagramming pick and rolls. Let me tell you that, because our high school basketball team was fucking awful until the arrival of Trent Jackson. Or as we called him, the Black Messiah. We probably didn't call him that. But still, maybe I call him that now. Maybe if I meant Trent now, I'd say, hey, what's up, Black Messiah? And he'd be like, what the hell does that mean? That sounds like a movie from the 70s, by the way. How great would that be? Truck Turner. It's a double feature. It's Isaac Hayes and Truck Turner, and then Black Messiah, starring Fred the Hammer Williamson. He's the Black Messiah, right? He should be. If he's not, he fucking should be. That's the goddamn Hammer. You want to tell him he's not the Messiah? He'll fucking plant you, motherfucker. You're going down. You're going to get a black foot broken off in your ass, courtesy of Fred, quote, the Hammer, end quote, Williamson. I closed the fucking quote on the Hammer. Bang! So, folks, I'm in the car with William Rumchak. And we also had we had simulators back then. I don't know how they run driver's ed now. I assume they strap everybody into a virtual reality helmet and then they drive on virtual streets from their desk. I don't know how it works. I'm old. Here's how old I am. Back then, we had to sit in like a fake bumper car that simulated a car. It literally was like it was a steering wheel and a gear shift, and you would drive with a movie that they would show up on the screen. It was like being in the worst arcade ever. It was truly the worst arcade because, I mean, you know, that was another thing is I would fuck around in the simulator because it would just be like, you know, you put it in park or put it in drive, and then I drove like Elvis drives in the movies. Does that make any sense? If you ever see Elvis drive, if you ever watch any movie from before 1960, watch them drive. Because behind them is a screen of a street that they're not even close to because they're sitting in a fucking studio and they're literally, they're holding onto the steering wheel and you're like, where the fuck are you driving? Are you in an obstacle course or trying to survive an earthquake? Because they constantly move their hands. They won't stop moving they're like, try driving like that. Watch a movie from the 50s, see the guy drive, then go to your car. You'll die. You'll be dead in like 9 seconds. And you know who's going to care about it? Nobody except Bill Rumchak. He's going to look down at his clipboard. He's going to go, you know what, drives like the 50s. Fail. All right, so how did I spin it? Oh, so the simulators. So we would sit in the simulators, and I would like do donuts. Like, I mean, I think I actually crashed a simulator, if I remember correctly. I was not good, folks, at the driving part of it. I thought it was hysterical to even be in class. Like, I'm not good at school. I was never good at school. I was good at taking tests. They'd give me a test, and just to be a dick, I would finish the test in 4 minutes and hand it in. And they'd be like, what? And then they'd grade it, and I would have an A. And they would go, fuck, how come you never do any of your homework? And I'd be already asleep, and I wouldn't even listen to them. Who cares? Because, folks, again, I'm very smart and yet very dumb. So, in driver's ed class, I was so I can't really blame this incident. I can't blame my failing driver's ed on this sole incident. But I know it didn't fucking help. But I didn't turn in any homework. I was fucking around in the simulators. I was not good. So we're in the car with Rumchak. And it was the afternoon. So, you know, when you go to school, comes the afternoon, all you're thinking about is getting out of school. I mean, you're not even thinking about the rest of school. You're like, God damn, I can't wait to get out of this school. Plus, you just had 3 lunches. So you're like, God damn it, I got to do something. I've got to survive. So we're in driver's ed. We go out to the car. It's Rumchak, and then it's me and Mark Schramm and Peaches Morris. So we go out to the car. Roberta Morris is her name. She's and she was so hot, dude. She was like this really cute African American girl, and she was Peaches from the time I knew her. Like even in 8th grade, she was Peaches. Everybody called her Peaches. Her name was Roberta Morris, but everybody called her Peaches. Big fan. So, but she was really sweet. Like she was really cool and really great. I mean, obviously it didn't hurt that she had a ridiculous body, but just it didn't matter because she was like really nice and to everybody. So. And the thing is, you only drove 1 day a week, I think, because they had to break it up and take people out because you'd be in the simulators or you'd be taking tests or doing work or whatever the hell you were doing. So it was a big deal to go out to the car. So we all go out to the car. And, again, in driver's ed, it's Rumchak in the front passenger seat, and then whoever's driving, then 2 people in the back. So you drive a little while, and then he tells you to park, he tells you to spin, he tells you to do whatever. And, you can't have the radio on, of course. You just got to concentrate on the road. Well, Mark was driving. And I'm in the back seat with Peaches. And folks, again, I'll tell you this. We had just eaten lunch. And it was like, I think it was February. So February in Chicago, you got to understand, it's cold. I mean, it's like freezing cold. And you got the windows all rolled up in the car and the heat on. And, that's conducive to maybe going to sleep. So Shram's driving. I'm in the back with Roberta. And it's like the sun... Like the warm sun is coming in the window and the heat is, and I'm not good with heat. I'll tell you, I get car sick, or I did when I was a kid. Not now. I'm not a fucking goof, but what if I did? Now, yeah, I do. I get car sick. I have a very delicate constitution, folks. No, in the old days, I used to get, I'd get car sick. Because I think part of it, though, was because I was in a fucking Pinto with my mom and 4 brothers as she smoked. Seriously, just this cancer wagon driving all over the fucking town. And then we, roll up the windows. My mom's smoking. We get to my aunt's house. I get out of the car and I fucking puke black into the goddamn grass. Because my mom, literally, I would have been better off getting a job in a mine. Honestly, my mom, we would be packed into a Pinto, my mom driving, Lenny in the front with Scott on his lap, and me, Andy, and Glenn in the back, Andy on the hump between us. All right, because it's bucket seats. It's a Pinto, fuck. And we jammed in this, like an orange Pinto, and my brother Lenny used to do stand-up about it and say it looked like a clown car where all of us just kept coming out of the motherfucking car. And but my mom, again, windows rolled tight, and she's smoking with all of us in the car, and just this, I'd be nauseous and fucking ready to vomit, and then I would get out of the car and vomit, and then you'd open the trunk, our canary was dead. That's never a good sign. That wasn't good at all. But luckily we had enough coal to burn through the winter. So we, but from being in cars and close quarters and you go to sleep. So, and I wasn't in close quarters with Peaches in the back, but I was in some shitty fucking driver's ed car. I don't know, some Ford. So Shram's driving. We're in the back, me and Peaches, and I guess I might have nodded off. I guess. So, because it's warm and there's the sun, and I've had 3 lunches, and I'm like leaning against the door, and I go to sleep. So, folks, when I go to sleep, I guess I pretty much fucking go to sleep, because what happened was I woke up at the school as we were getting out of the car, and I'm like, huh? But I wipe spit off my face and off the window, just like do anything I can. And Rumchak, he's Schmidt, and I wake up and he's like, Schmidt, get out of the car. So I'm like, all right, we're doing this. We're all getting out of the car. All right. So I get out of the car and I look at Peaches, and she's in the driver's seat. She gets out, and we go to walk in, and Rumchak's just like furious. And I look at Peaches and I go, what? How come I don't get to drive? She goes, well, we pulled over. And he said, Schmidt, you're up. And you didn't say anything. And he said, Schmidt, you're up. And you remained asleep in the back seat. I slept through Rumchak. I slept through a wrestling coach barking at me, folks. That's how deep a sleeper I was. That's what 3 lunches will do to a man. But again, it was cold but warm. My face on the window is cold but warm inside, and I'm in a coat, and I'm leaning there. And Rumchak goes, Schmidt, you're up. And I don't even hear it. He goes, Schmidt, you're up. I still don't hear it. And he goes, Morris, you're up. And Schramm went in the back. Morris went in the front. She took my shift. And we came back to the school, and he didn't let me drive. And that was it. And I will tell you that Rumcheck never took me out driving again. I was simulator boy from that point on, and I think that might have played a role in my not getting a fucking driver's license, folks. I think that might have had something to do with it. The fact that I grabbed a quick 40 winks when we went out for a test drive. Why did I even get into this fucking story? I don't even know. What the fuck happened? Like all of a sudden I decided to tell you I'm winking, blinking, and nodding in a goddamn car? Really? How does that happen? Why did I spiral off into that? There was something, right? What was I was talking about driving, and then I said there late start on oh, fuck. Oh, okay. Here's what I did. I was telling you, again, if you run out of gas, you're a chump. That's basically it. If you're a young man and you run out of gas, that's fine. But I'm a man who knows nothing about cars. I still don't. To this day, I know nothing about cars. Here's something I did. I had my Chevy Caprice Classic, as I've mentioned earlier. Again, a classic, folks. First car I ever owned. And, it's funny. I bought that car. Here's a funny story. I bought that car from Ron Brown's Auto Sales. Ron Brown, former wide receiver of the Los Angeles Rams. And he was well known for, it was literally like that, bad credit, okay, no credit, okay, Mike Schmidt, okay. That was the ad. That's how they knew. That's how aware they were of how much of a fuck up I was. It was literally Ron Brown's Auto Sales, bad credit, okay, no credit, okay, Mike Schmidt, okay. So I go to Ron Brown's Auto Sales to make my first car purchase, and I've saved a lot of pizza money, and I go. And this is the kind of place that advertised in the Penny Saver. Like, it's that kind of car dealership. And they had an ad, and they had a Caprice Classic, which was, I think it was $3,600 was how much it was at the time. So I was like, I don't know how I can afford that. I don't know what payments are. I have no credit at the time. I got nothing. I'm a fucking, literally, I'm still clapping pizza flour out of my shirt when I walk in to buy the goddamn car. So I go in and I deal with, like, literally it's this quick, they just wanted me out the door. So they sell me a Caprice Classic that's not the one in the ad. And I didn't care. They saw me coming, because again, I'm walking. So they saw me coming. Folks, I got no car. That fucking made me laugh. All right, so they sell me a Caprice, and I give them a down payment, and I know the car was it $5,000? I'm trying to remember the exact numbers, but the bottom line was my monthly payment was going to be like $220, something like that. So they draw up the papers, they draw up the contract, and everything's signed and everything's squared away, and then I pick up the thing, and then I get my first bill in the mail, and my bill is for $320. And I called them and I go, no, I have a contract that says $220. They go, oh, we had to redo it after you left. There were some things that we had to take care of and we had to redo it. You know what? I check this. My payment was supposed to be $195 and they made it $295 because it was under $200. Because I could afford $195, but then it went up to $295, and I'm like, what is this? I don't get it. And they're just like, no, there were some things, some other considerations. Like, it was that kind of what I'm saying, again, they see me coming, and it's this weird, let's put it this way: is Ron Brown's Auto Sales still around? It's not, and I'm getting to that. So. So I go, well, no, I can't do that. I mean, it was $195. I have a signed contract from you guys. And they're like, oh, we must have a different one on file. I go, great. I didn't sign it because there's no way it says that on there. And I swear to God, the guy on the line goes, well, how much can you pay a month? $195? Since that was the agreed upon total? I mean, honestly, you would think that this guy had sold me the car by opening a trench coat and pulling it out of it. On a street corner. Like he had a blanket laid out with knockoff watches and just a car parked on one side of it. Hey, you guys want a Rolex? Who wants a Rolex? You guys want a Rolex? Hey, who wants some cologne? I got some cologne for you. Hey, anybody interested in a Caprice Classic? It is a classic. Who wants a Caprice Classic? Right here. Got it for you right in the jacket. So, I tell them, look, I can pay $195. And they're like, all right, well, how about if you do that for the first 5 months, and then we'll bump it up to $235 or $225, because that was where I got that number from. So $225, and I'm like, no, I can pay $195 or whatever. And they're like, well, you know what? Start you out now at $195, and we'll talk about it later. Like, just this weird in play type of negotiation, and I already signed it. So I keep my job. I pay it. I don't even think twice about it. Like 6 months down the line, I get a letter from them, and it states that Ron Brown and Ron Brown's Auto Sales are undergoing a reorganization. So they're reevaluating all the contracts and they're bringing them up, and they want to talk to me about my loan, and they want to find out if there's a way I will settle the loan with them within the next 2 months. Basically, Ron Brown's Auto Sales is a casino, and they're calling in their markers. Or you could say it was like they're on the stock exchange and it's a margin call. And Ron Brown is the Duke brothers, and they just tried to corner the world on orange juice, and it didn't fucking happen. So it's time to pony up some cash. So Ron Brown comes looking for me, and they sent out this letter that they're undergoing a reorganization, and I'm like, I don't know what that means, but I know I'm basically they want me to pay off my loan in the next 2 months. They said they're giving me 60 days to pay off my loan. So I as you know, with me, folks, I don't. I do a lot of. Here's how I handle things. There's the 7 levels of this. I open up the letter and there's shock, and then there's me going, well, that's not fucking true, which is of course denial. And then I'm like furious. I'm like, who the fuck do they think they are? I have a signed goddamn contract. That of course is anger. And then supposedly at some point there's supposed to be acceptance, but here's what Mike Schmidt puts in there instead of acceptance. I gotta stop. What a douche. I gotta stop calling myself that. Here's what I did instead of acceptance. Here's what I did. I chose the ignore step. So they want me to settle my loan and they're telling me I've got 60 days to do it. I ignore them. And I send in my car payment, my $195, my measly $195 to Ron Brown. And Ron Brown, by the way, he was like an Olympic sprinter who became a football player. And I can tell you that running really came in handy for Ron Brown. As like 2 weeks after I sent in that car payment, I got another letter telling them, with them telling me that they needed me to contact their office. Because I will tell you, I'm not exactly answering phone calls from Ron Brown at this point. So they desperately need me to talk to them about filling out the paperwork that allows me to settle my loan in the next 15 days. And again, folks, I ignore them. And it comes time to send in my next car payment, and I decide that I'm not going to send that car payment as like a small little a protest, because again, I don't understand how credit works or anything like that. All I can tell you is that I'm pissed off at them because they keep trying to fucking strong arm me into getting like pay off my loan. Like they basically want like $2,000, and I'm like, well, I'm not even going to send you 200 now. How does that fucking grab you, Ron Brown? Because I'll tell you what, in the world of car dealerships, you just came across the middle, and I fucking single-tarried you right into the turf. You can come, you're a sprinter and you're a great football, but you just literally, you came across the middle, no head on a swivel, and I Mel Blunted you into the fucking ground. You just got Todd Belled and I stepped on your neck. Any other safeties or defensive fucking players I could think of. So as my little protest, as my little as my little fuck you to Ron Brown, I'm not even going to pay that month. I'm going to skip a month. I'm going to take a grace period, my own grace period. So I do, and they don't call me, which is weird. And I'm like, all right, well, I triumphed. Like, I figure I just defeated Ron Brown. I go, all right, maybe they realized that they were out of line. I don't know. I don't know how it works out. But I can tell you that, so I'm like, all right, well, I'll just, I'll send them my next car payment. Everything's fine. They learned their lesson. I've put them in their place. And so I go about my life. I continue making pizzas. I continue listening to Van Halen. I continue frittering away the time that could have been much better spent toward building a career. So I figure that I will actually bring my payment into them because I want to talk to them about, because this is the old days when you would get a coupon book, folks, with your car, and you'd have to tear off that month's payment and send it in. So I had skipped a month, and I didn't want there to be a weird paperwork thing. I felt I should go and explain to them what's happening. I'm again, folks, I'm stupid. I think that it's going to work out. I'm just going to walk in, and they're going to be like, hey, good to see you. You put us in our place. I'm like, ha, here's a double coupon, but only one payment. We're all friends. And then Ron will sign a football for me, and he'll go long. So I decide that I'm going to bring my payment in, and then, so maybe get a new coupon book because I skipped a month, whatever. So I go to Ron Brown's Auto Sales, and I pull up in front of an empty shell building. I mean, it's gone. Like, literally, the B is hanging off the door. I mean, it's like just, There's no cars in the lot. There's cars around back, but they're like they have flat tires. Like it's just this weird. It looks like a mob has come in and burned Ron Brown to the ground. So I walk in, and there's like a cleanup crew. There's not even desks or anything. And I go, whoa, was there a fire? What happened here? They're like, nah, man, they went bankrupt. I go, what? They go, yeah, I guess they're out of business, but they left like overnight, like they just took off. I'm like, oh, well, I was here to drop off a payment. And the guy goes, I wouldn't drop off a fucking payment. And let me tell you something, folks. I have a rule in life. I always listen to what a guy holding a broom says. So I go, all right. So I take my coupon book and I walk out and I kick the door jam and a subtle like jab at Ron Brown. And I seriously, but I mean, it's just this bombed out hovel. I mean, it's gone. There's still stationery there. I mean, it looks like in the middle, like, you know who Ron Brown is? He's the Baltimore Colts of auto sales. In the middle of the night, he had the Mayfair moving vans show up, and he loaded all of his coupon books and his fucking football memorabilia into the back, and he hired a bunch of immigrants to drive off with whatever cars he had left on the lot, except for the ones with the fucking flat tires, and they booked, and they were gone. And I never heard from them again. So I got a free fucking Caprice Classic from Ron Brown. Like, so then it pissed me off because what it was they were trying to, my apt analogy of them being a casino calling in their markers is absolutely fucking true. Because they were trying to get people to give them as much money as they could because they knew that they were fucking going to take off. So in my little protest, I saved myself $200 and then wound up getting a free Caprice Classic. I got a free car. Like, I never made another fucking payment. I never heard from them. And then it was in the paper that Ron Brown was getting sued by the IRS for, like, tax fraud. So he went over the middle, and the fucking IRS just dug planked him right into the goddamn ground. He took a beating from me, but then on his next route, sure enough, the fucking federal government strapped on a chin strap and blasted him into tomorrow. So I got a free fucking Caprice Classic from a former NFL receiver. I don't want to say All-Star. I don't think he ever made the All-Star, but he was a name, and he gave me a free car. Thanks, Ron. I gave him a down payment and literally paid like 5 months on it, and I had a 2-year loan, so I got a year and a half free Caprice. All right, so you would think that getting a free car would make me go, hey, I should take care of this. Wrong. I don't know anything about cars, folks. I got to tell you, I have no clue of what to do with a car. So I'm in my Caprice Classic one day, and I'm driving on the freeway in Anaheim. Because I'm going back and forth from my palatial estate to, I'm sure, one of the other pizza serial killer jobs I fucking had. Who the fuck knows? I might have gone to do a set. I don't know. All I know is I'm driving on the freeway. And I'm driving, and the oil light comes on in the Caprice Classic. Now, this is like 6 months down the road, so I've enjoyed 6 free months of Caprice Classic. I'm driving, and the oil light comes on. And I see that. And in my head, I go, oh, man, I got to get some oil in the next couple of days. So I keep driving on the freeway with the oil light on. And I don't know how it didn't just start flashing like a warning in the space shuttle. I don't have any fucking clue. All I know is I'm still driving on the freeway, and then I'm like, oh, man. And you know what? I'm selling myself short. I know that means I've got to put oil in the car. All right, can we all get on board with that? I just don't have any oil at the time, and I've got to get home. I'm on the freeway. I mean, and I don't have any oil, and it's late. So I'm just figure I'll get home, and I'll deal with it in the morning, because that's how I do it, folks. Again, I ignored Ron Brown. I ignored the oil light. I'm like, I'm sure this will all work out in the end. So I'm driving. And the oil light comes on, and it's on, and it seems to be getting more intense and red as I continue to drive. And finally, I smell like smoke, like burning. Like I don't know, and I know it's me because again, I'm not stupid. There's nobody else on the freeway, and I figured the oil light might have something to do with it. I'm not sure. I figured the car is so angry about me not noticing the oil light that it's the actual intensity of the burning oil light. Like the light itself is burning through the plastic of the dashboard to go, hey, fucker, oil! What don't you get about oil? Do you know? I'm on right now, oil. So it's burning through right into my eyes. And finally, I Here's the thing that I did that I think was smart but also dumb. I pulled over and turned the car off. If I would have kept driving, I think I could have gotten home at least. But suffice it to say, I pulled over and I felt the hood, and the hood was like super hot. And I'm like, all right, there's got to be a fire in here, right? I mean, there has to be a fire in my car. I'm trying to, again, it's like 1:30 in the morning. I'm on the side of the fucking road, and I popped the hood, and no, thankfully no fire. Or the fire had burned itself out before I opened the fucking hood. But it smells like someone set a person on fire. I mean, it's like the worst. It smells like a tar bath. I mean, it smells like if you boiled somebody in oil. I would imagine that's what it fucking smells like. And quite frankly, what it was the death of the Caprice. Because as I drove, I fried the engine. I saw the oil that was on. I kept driving, and I drove 5 miles with no oil basically, and completely fried it. Just completely ruined the car. I turned my car into a doorstop. That's what I did. So that's the kind of thing you do when you're a young man, folks. So I mean, whatever. I did that, and then and too bad. I mean, and granted, I got it free, so who cares? It was a crapshoot at that point anyway, right? I mean, I got a year and a half free out of it, so I got another 7 months out of it, and then there you go. And then I fell into this trap. There was a chick I was banging at the time, had a friend who could fix cars. And so she's like, well, just get it towed over to my house, and then he'll come over and fix the car. So I had it towed over to the house. And, when you have a friend who fixes cars, that means he dabbles in fixing cars. And he could be the greatest fucking mechanic in the world, but it doesn't matter because you're not paying him. So he's not going to fucking come over when you tell him to come over and fix your fucking car. So in the meantime, I'm on the bus, man. I'm riding the bus to Little Caesars, and then I'm staying. I had to move from my other house because I couldn't get around. So now I'm staying at this chick's house. After now my car is parked in the back. I'm a fucking Jeff Foxworthy joke at this point. It's awful. And then the guy never showed up to fix my car, like he never did. And finally, then I wound up splitting and moving back to Chicago from there. And then I actually left the title. I go, here, give your friend the title. He can have it if he wants. So somewhere, I would imagine once he got the title, I'm sure he souped it up, and now it's the best Caprice Classic in the history of the fucking world. But I guess that's what I'm saying. So I don't know anything about fucking cars except how to ruin them.
We'll be back to the 40-year-old boy right after this.
You're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy, and coming up, who would win in a fight? A lively back and forth to determine who's tougher than who.
This has to be a record because we're 3 in, and already we agree on all 3. We both took Batman over Barney Miller.
Yes.
We both took the blind nun with the baseball bat against the 6-year-old boy with the loaded pistol.
Easily.
And for some reason, I don't know how this happened, we both took golf ball size hail to beat the Beach Boys.
Yes.
You had one you wanted to bring up.
Yes. 85 Roman gladiators, okay?
Sure.
Versus the 85 bears.
Wow. Is this in hand-to-hand combat or is it in football?
Both.
Wow. You know what? I'm going to go 85 bears both.
Really?
Bears are padded up. Well, wait. Do they have weapons, gladiators?
They have the short sword thing.
Oh, then bears are finished. In combat. First, it all depends on what they play first. If they play football first, 85 bears in a walk, unfortunately, they wind up getting their heads kicked in the battlefield.
Wait. I think the Romans actually have their swords during the football game.
Then that is a mess of a game, and I think that's one loss the Bears would take. Now, I really wanted to move on to this before anything else happened. Present-day Joe Frazier versus a giant stick of gum.
The gloves are off and the dukes are up on Who Would Win in a Fight on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network.
What kind of gum?
Truth be told, that car was fucking finished anyway. I mean, I think it committed suicide just to get away from me. Seriously, I think... Because I did not fucking take care of it, folks. Because, again, it's funny. I mentioned that guy, if you're not paying him to come fix your car, well, he has no real value or urgency to come fix your car. Well, because I got this car for free, this car just became a fucking war wagon for me at this point. Driving on lawns and running over fucking mailboxes and just doing crazy, stupid shit, even at the age of fucking 23, whatever the fuck I was. I'm not smart. So, but here's something. I was coming home one time from Vegas. And I'm driving back in the Caprice, and it was, oh my God, it was such death on the fucking, right by Victorville. If you've driven from L.A. to Vegas, it's just, there's nothing worse than coming home from Vegas and hitting traffic and going, oh my God, because it's such a straight shot. It's literally like 4 hours one way, and you're door to door and everything's great. But then when you hit traffic, it can become the worst drive. I mean, it's taken me like 7-8 hours sometimes to get to or from Vegas. One night outside of Barstow, we got out of our cars. There was so much traffic. So I merged to get into Victorville, and this is part my fault and part another person's fault. The part that's my fault is I was like driving and I'm making a decent time, and then as I start to merge onto I think it's the 210 or this is a long time ago, so it might have just been right to the 10. It was before they came up with there's this other way you can drive now through out by the Hills Have Eyes Pavilion and stuff in where the hell is that? I don't know. This is all a lot. Who cares? Nobody cares. So I'm driving, and as I pull up, I see the traffic. And I'm fucking furious that there's traffic. Like, I'm so mad that there's traffic. But, so I go to merge, okay? And I have to merge into this literally almost a standstill traffic. So I'm merging from the left. So I'm merging from the left onto the highway. So as I'm merging, there's a truck coming up that can only be described as a jalopy. Like, I mean, it's like... It looks like Ma and Pa Kettle and a fucking pig are on it. I'm waiting for Jed to start shooting at some crude. I mean, it's like one of those really beaten up fucking, either it's some hillbilly family from the mountains or it's some fucking serial killer who doesn't want to be noticed, like that kind of deal. And right there on the license plate holder, Ron Brown's Auto Sales. So I'm driving. I go to merge. And as I'm merging, granted, I don't have the right of way. All right, I get that. I'm merging. But I'm a full half of a car length ahead of them. I'm a half of a car length ahead of them. So it's like, let me in. Just fucking let me in. Who the fuck do you think you are? Stop with your hillbilly nonsense. Hit the brakes and let me in. This is not a pissing contest. It's not like, oh my God, if he gets ahead of me, it's going to be a tragedy. And granted, a lot of this advice could go my way too. You could slow down, but I'm pissed. I'm fucking mad. I can't believe that I'm in the middle of this traffic. I want to just get home. I'm fucking hot. It's the desert. It's fucking brutal. So I'm merging in, and I've got a full half a car length on them, and I'm continuing to merge. They're continuing to come up, and I see them coming up in my mirror, and I'm like, well, they're not gonna. I mean, they're gonna stop, right? Eventually, they're gonna fucking stop. So they don't. They keep coming, and I keep going, and they keep coming, and I keep going, and eventually I start to hear a crunch. Okay, they're right up on me, and as I kind of stop, and then they pull up, and as they're going up again, because they have this piece of shit that they don't care about. It's a truck that's all, and so they're thinking that I'm just going to stop because I've got a brand shiny old Caprice Classic. So they figure they're going to win the lottery because they've got shitty truck and they've got that over me. They're like, oh, fuck that. This guy's he's not going to make a move. So I actually kind of stop. I have to stop because I hear the crunch, and then they start to creep up. They're like, we beat him. We got ahead of him. So then they get ahead of me. And so I will now say that I was a half a car length, and then they kind of started to rub me, and I felt it, so I stopped, and then they pulled up, and you could see they kind of pulled away from me, and they're like, and they don't laugh, but what I mean is you could see they kind of swerve to the left and confidently pull forward, like I guess we showed him, which would have been the case with any normal person. But I'm on free money. I'm on Ron Brown's free money. So what the fuck do I care? This is a war wagon. I'm pissed. They pissed me off. They got fucking close enough to me. I figure, all right, well, you know what? You guys don't give a shit about your car. I definitely don't give a shit about my fucking car. And you're going to get that close and then think you're going to get past me? I don't fucking think so. I fucking pull up. I pull up. They're ahead of me this time. However, I make sure that I'm right on them. I hear the crunch and then I fucking floor it. And as I go through, my fucking driver's side mirror takes their fucking passenger side mirror right off their fucking truck. I just fucking blast them. And it's like, it's fucking rubbing and racing, baby. That's what we're doing. I'm right alongside their car. You just hear the scrape. It's their turn to stop because they're like, holy shit, this guy's really scraping our car. Not only is he scraping it, he's about to floor it and take all your fucking paint, your mirror, and your goddamn pride right off the side of your fucking car. I hear that noise in my fucking head, and I just floored it. I go forward. Their mirror goes flying, like literally like 100 yards. Not even, I'm making that up, but still, it flew into the air. It goes, it just paint and scraping and metal and this fucking, and they hit the brakes, and I don't hit the fucking brakes, and I just, you know what I do? I look back at them. I turn my turn signal on, and I fucking merge. I calmly merge ahead of them. Their mirror is fucking gone. I look in the back. It's like their mirror's off. There's wires hanging from their car. I took their quarter panel and smunched it in by their fucking tire. Like, I just fucking destroyed their car. Because again, if you're going to play fucking Mad Max with me, you're going to get fucked. I'm driving. I'm in a goddamn Ron Brown battle wagon. That's what's fucking happening right now. You might think I'm going to back up because I got a nice Chevy. Fuck that. I couldn't care less about this. I'm driving a free car and you're getting fucked. So bend over because I'm driving my Caprice right up your ass and your mirror's coming off in the process. So I just fucking floored it, man. I took their whole side of their car off, fucked their quarter panel up, didn't care, and merged. Then like calmly put my turn signal on and merged. And they're honking at me because they're trying to get me to pull over. I'm like, I'm not fucking pulling over. But there's so much traffic that it doesn't matter because then one of them gets out and he runs up to my fucking car. And I'm in the car and I get the window up and I'm just looking at him. And I'm mad. All right, I'm not gonna, because I literally, once I did it and I calmly turned my turn signal on and then I merged. I just go, yeah! Like, I'm in my car, and I'm like, that's right, motherfucker! That's what I'm talking about! And I'm just driving, I drive an inch. I'm not even getting away. Fucking stupid. Just fucking, who does that? Some 22-year-old asshole who just decides, you know what? Fuck you and fuck him. Fucking floors it, destroys their car, rips their mirror off, puts his signal on and merges. God damn it. I'm fucking hysterical. I am hysterical. I'm a dick. There's no doubt that I'm a jagoff, but Jesus, is that funny. Because you ran into the wrong idiot. Because normally every other idiot just backs off. Fuck that, not that time. I was like, I got free money here. Why wouldn't I fucking bet it on black? Ron Brown is black. I'm betting it on him. You think Ron Brown wouldn't go over the middle? Fuck that. I'm going over the middle on these hillbillies. Take a fucking hike. So this guy runs up to my car. And now he's like pounding on my window. And I roll the window down and I look at him and I'm like, yeah? And he goes, why are you going to pull? You need to fucking pull over, man. You just fucking took my mirror right off. And I go, dude, merging. Let me merge. Like, now I lose my shit on the guy. He's like, what? I go, I had the right of way. And I know I don't have the right of way. I had the right. Dude, I'm half a car length in front of you and you fucking crunch my car and then you swerve away. You think you're going to get away with that? Fuck that. I just roll my window up. And he's incredulous. Like, he's kind of just standing there with this weird face. Like, this guy's crazy. Like, he's even crazier than I thought. Because now I'm done talking to him. I'm just not. But the thing is, there's nowhere I can go. I'm literally just sitting there, and it's not like he doesn't have witnesses. He literally could have gone to like 9 other cars and gotten witnesses. And I'm like, I don't care. I didn't fucking care. I did not care. So he goes back to his truck, and then he starts talking to people in other cars, and he's getting the information, and then he gets out of his truck and goes get this mirror. And then he's trying to pull like his quarter panel out of the tire well because I smashed in their wheel well. Oh man, I fucking destroyed their truck because it pissed me off. It just fucking pissed me off. So I just drove. I didn't even fucking care. I didn't even look at him. I didn't look at anybody else. Nobody fucking looked at me. I can tell you that. Because they realized that I was fucking ready to do the Malachi Crunch on anybody on that goddamn highway. Fuck that, man. If I just took out the goddamn the Mississippi All-Stars, anybody else is going to get schooled. Oh. And my insurance at the time was like, literally, again, I'm broke, folks. I had some fly-by-night insurance company, just like Damage Incorporated. I don't know what the fuck their name was. Yes, you know what it was? They were named after a Metallica song. Absolutely, it was Damage Incorporated. But yeah, I just didn't fucking care. And in my head, like I said, I didn't think it through. Obviously. It's not like I sat down and did the schematics about it. I was so fucking mad. I just floored it and destroyed and just took their truck out. And you know, because then again, I stop. I put on my turn signal. I merge in front of them, and then they've got my license plate in their face for the next fucking 75 miles. Look, it's not like I'm getting away from these people again, and not like I even cared to get away from them. This guy jogged alongside my car and tried to chew me out, and I didn't fucking care. I had just fucking had it at that point, folks. And there's a small part of me that likes to think that Bill Rumchak would have been proud of me. Rumchak would have been like, you know, you come a long way from sleeping in the back seat, Schmidt. Nice job. Take out those pig farmers and their piece of shit truck. They fucking deserve it out here in Victorville. Move out of the fucking desert. That sun's baking your head. Rumchak would have been there with me. Rumchak would have fucking tag teamed it. We could have thrown on fucking masks. He would have just come off the top of the car and thrown an elbow smash into their goddamn other mirror, taking it right off. Rumchak and I are cleaning up this fucking town. So, yeah, I don't even know how I got into that. But I didn't care. Like, again, seriously, folks, I was in Ron Brown's war wagon. Get the fuck out of my way.
Hi, it's Mike Toomey, and you're listening to The 40-Year-Old Boy on the Mike Schmidt Podcasting Network. Let's all support the man so he doesn't have to come back and middle for me in Grand Forks.
Hello, I'm Mike Schmidt from the 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast and MikeSchmidtComedy.com. A lot of people who listen to my show have said to me, Mike, we'd like to learn more about how to live like you. We'd like to react in situations the way that you do. Well, now at Mike Schmidt Online University, you can take courses that allow you to behave just like me, the 40-Year-Old Boy. Courses like how to get rid of a shit-filled dog, how to converse at a glory hole, and the art of self-bukkake. Take these courses and you can react in everyday situations just like me, Mike Schmidt, the 40-Year-Old Boy. Thank you.
So that's the reason I'm doing a late night record. All of that. No, because I was telling you that I was on my way over here today to do it. Here's the thing. I have a 2006 Murano, and I love it. I love my car. And I had to purchase it, and which is great. And then the warranty, I guess, is out because it's 3 years or 100,000 miles. 3 years is up. So the last 2 weeks, the car has been doing this weird thing when I go to start it. Like it doesn't... normally, you know, you start a car, especially modern new cars, they're fuel injected, and so you just turn the thing and your car starts. Well, the last couple of weeks, it's been starting to go like, and then it starts. So I'm like, all right, well, that's either the fuel injectors, or it's the starter, or it's a solenoid. And folks, by the way, I don't know what any of those words mean. I don't know what any of that means. I just know that in the past, something happened to my car and I had to replace the solenoid. I know that there's a starter and a fuel injector, so something is going on there. It's like, and then part of me is like, maybe it's a spark plug. It's not getting enough spark. I don't know. So for the past couple of weeks, it's getting progressively worse. And I tell Karen, I say to her, I go, look, I got to make an appointment with the guys, with the guys. You know, me and the guys. So I have to, and by the way, I lost my voice here as I'm yelling about cars, and I did a set earlier tonight. Folks, again, I don't like a late night record because I live my life and then come here and do this. And I've used my voice all day. I've used my indoor voice and my outdoor voice all day. And then I come here to use my podcast voice, and I'm Gravelly Joe. I don't like that. So bear with me. So today, I finally make the call. And the thing is, every time I go somewhere for the last 2 weeks, it's this weird sword of Damocles where I'm going, is this going to be the time that the car doesn't start? And I can tell you that it really cut into my vice over the last 2 weeks. Because if I wanted to go to like a strip club or something, in my head I'm like, I can't do that. Because then if the car breaks down here, then I got to call Karen and go, hey, I'm at Jumbo's Clown Room. I need a tow. I mean, that's not good. Right? That turns out to be bad. So I had to fucking schoolboy it for the last couple of weeks and just go normal places. But even so, again, we all know I'm kidding. I don't go anywhere. Whatever. So, but I can't bear the thought of the car breaking down in some by some heroin addict's house. I can't do that. Not that I spend a lot of time at a heroin addict's house. Not a lot of time. All right. So. So so every time I start the car now, I'm waiting to see if it's going to be the time that it doesn't start. So finally today I get up and I make I was going to say the phone call and the fucking call, and I almost said I make the Falkland Islands. Like I almost That's I don't even have control of my own mouth anymore, folks. So I go ahead and I make the phone call today, and I make an appointment for tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. on Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And I tell them, they're like, hey, what's wrong with the car? And I go, you know what? It's either the fuel injectors, or it's the starter, or it's a solenoid. I know it's one of those things probably. They're like, great, see you at 7 a.m. So I go, cool. So I call Lily, and I go, hey, man, I'm leaving the house. I'm on my way to do the podcast. I got to stop at the bank. And I hop in the car. I start it. And this time, like, and then it starts. I'm like, thank God. Well, luckily tomorrow morning this will be fixed. So I go to the bank, and I get out of the car, and then I go inside and I do my bank stuff, and then I come outside. Hey, guess what I did? I turned the car off when I went into the bank. I should have taken the hint when I started it, and it went that I should do my best to death grip it and cling to life and hope to God, like let it run all the time. But instead, I turned it off. So I get in the car at the bank, and I go to start it, and it literally just goes like, and it won't even turn over. And it's not the battery, because everything else works. The radio works, the air conditioning, everything, the lights, everything works fine, perfect. It's just that the car won't start. And so then I go, all right, well, you know what? I'll just let it sit for a second, and then I'll do it again. And literally, I let it sit for a second, like 1 second. That's how impatient I was. And I go to start it, and it goes, like it doesn't even, now it's just like, fuck you, honestly. So I go, you know what, I'll give it a minute. So I do, I give it a minute, and then I start it, and this time it goes, like it makes that, and I go, fuck, you did something. It sounds like I went bowling, and my ball was full of crickets. That's what the noise was. It was just this like it's horrible, and I immediately jump back from the car, and I'm like, all right. So I call the tow club, and then they're like, hey, we'll come and get your car. And Jorge, nice man, comes in with SOS Towing, and he throws the car on the flatbed. And I get in the car, and then I call Lily, and she's going to come pick me up. And instead, now I'm towing it to the dealership. And by the way, yes, I am going to the dealership who fucked me and stole my glasses, because they're comping me on the. Remember, I told you that the guy in finance was like, "Hey, I'll take care of your maintenance if you come back, whatever." So I said, "Oh, I'm not a hypocrite." And so I get the car towed over there. I'm in the car with Jorge, and it's hot here in California. And Jorge is just like, oh, how long do you think the heat will last? And I must tell you, I get free towing because I'm in the club, but I'm going to tip the guy. I'm going to give him a couple of bucks. And he's like, oh, how long do you think the heat will last? Because apparently I'm in the car with Ricardo Montalban. I don't know why I do the voice. Why would I do the voice? I don't know. So he's like, hey, what time do you think the heat will last? I go, dude, probably another month, right? September? I go, don't you have air in the truck? And I should tell you, his truck is literally a steering wheel and then an open dashboard where you can see the motor. I mean, it's like there's nothing in this car. It's just, there's no radio, no air. There's barely any vents. I mean, it's just, he's driving a shell. It looks like, I'm half expecting John Candy and Steve Martin to just, get it from him later and be like, well, our speedometer melted. I mean, it's like that fucking destroyed. So we're driving, and he's like, oh, it's so hot. And I go, you don't have air? And that was the question he was waiting to be asked, because then he just immediately snowballs downhill with, no, I can't have the air. You know how much they want for the air? $3,000. You know how much they want for the radio? $1,000. Oh, it's so hot and it's unbelievable. I have nothing to listen to in the car. I can't believe it. He starts laying it on a little thick. So like I said, I was going to tip the guy $10, and I got $40 on me. I'm going to ask him if he's got change for a 20. But now I realize, as he runs down the litany of problems and basically tells me everything except for, oh, my family in the old country, she is dying. Like, I mean, it's the only thing he doesn't tell me. He tells me the car, and it's hot, and he's towing, and it's he can't understand why he can't. And you know what? How much it is? Oil change a truck, $300, and it's not like you can put it off. And then, oh my gosh, and the motor was $175. I mean, just this complete laundry list of things he has to spend money on. So now I think he's working me kind of hard. So I realized that if I say to him, hey, you got change for a 20? He's not going to have change for a 20. And then at that point, it's going to be awkward, because then I'm going to have to give him the 20. I have to give him the 20 at that point, right? If I'm going to give him a tip and I'm going to give him $10, and I go, hey, man, you got change for a 20? And he's going to go, no, senor. I don't know why. Again, I don't know why he's wrapped himself in a blanket and put his sombrero over his eyes and had a siesta. He's not that guy. He was a wonderful man, like a nice guy, and set up my car, put it in neutral, pushed it, did whatever he had to do. But he came on really fucking strong in the money department. So then we go there and we drop the car off, and I'm like, all right, do I do this awkward $20 ballet with him? And instead, I go, you know what? You want a cool drink? Because apparently I'm in Cool Hand Luke. And I unzipped my cooler and I gave him a cold Propel, and he's like, gracias, senor. Like, and he got down on one knee and crossed himself. No, he didn't, but still. So I gave him a Propel. So that was how I got out of it, because I didn't want to flash any cash, because again, because part of me would have been like, hey, dude, you got change for 20? No, I can't. And I would have been like, oh, I was going to tip you $10. But it sounds like you got a lot of problems, and $10 isn't going to help it. So please accept a hearty gracias from me and a kind adios. But instead I gave him like a couple of cold Propels, and he's like, oh, thanks, man. And then I went in and made the arrangements, so they're fixing my car in the morning. And then they're like, hey, you want a rental car? Because it turns out, guess what, folks? They go, hey, have you gotten any recall notices in the mail? I said, no. They said, oh, because, yeah, there's a problem with and he types it in, and he goes, yeah, see? And it turns out that I'm covered by a warranty recall thing. So whatever was going on with my starter, they knew about it. Like they fucking yoded the shit out of it. He's like, oh yeah, this okay, we'll take care of it. So I guess I'm scot free with money. So that's cool. And I saved $10 on tipping this dude. So that's great. I'm just a cheap bastard. And then they paid for my rental car. They were like, you want a rental car? I said, yeah. So then I called Lily and told her she didn't have to come pick me up, because I didn't want to climb into her Maxima and get some sequins in my ass. And so instead I rented a truck. I got a truck again. Not as big as the one truck that I rented, but it's still a pretty decent-sized truck. And then again, I sobbed like a little girl all the way home and parked it on the street, and then borrowed my wife's car, because I don't want to drive this car. Because again, I think we all know that I'm paying a deductible to Geico for another rental car fucking mishap that I had to go through, and I don't want to deal with that again. So you know what? I parked this on the street. It's sitting there very nicely. Tomorrow they'll fix my car, and they'll get their truck back. Great. How's that for fucking boring? All right, so Jesus, I think I might have nodded off myself in the middle of that motherfucking story. That was grim. All right. Then I had a set tonight. That went okay, folks. Tonight's better than last night. Tonight is absolutely better than last night, folks. Last night, I got to tell you something. I am not. This sounds ridiculous. It's going to sound ridiculous, but this. I almost called my wife. All right. I'm at the graveyard thing last night, and I'm at the desk. And let me set up what this place looks like. I'm in the lobby of an apartment building. I'm in the office, sitting at a desk, and I have a clear shot out my door. The door's open, obviously, into the parking garage. But I don't see the entire parking garage. I only see through a doorway. So it's essentially a doorway to a doorway. And it's about, I would say, 25 feet from the parking garage. So I can hear what's going on. Periodically, I'll walk out there, see if anybody's stealing anything, see if any nonsense is happening. So I'm at the desk last night. It was like 3 a.m. And I'm reading, and I have my computer open, and I see movement in the parking garage. Now, I got to tell you, folks, I am always frosty. I am ready for action. I might have talked a lot of bullshit about guys stealing copper piping before, but fuck that. I am on the job. So I see movement, but I don't know what it is. Like I kind of, like, I just saw something happen. Like, it looked like a shadow went by, and that will happen occasionally, where sometimes if a light bulb goes out or something blinks, who cares? It's 3 fucking o'clock in the morning. Your mind plays tricks on you. You think you see shit, and then you don't really see shit. So I'm sitting at the desk, and I'm behind the desk, and I look into the parking garage. I see movement in the parking garage, but it's low. It's around, it's like, honestly, near the floor, and it's white. And so I thought maybe it's like a plastic bag blowing by, but I can see it just kind of coming out of the periphery of the doorway. Then, as it backs up, I can see that it's a lot longer and thinner than a garbage bag, and I think it might be a tail. So again, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm in the office, I look out, and I see this, and it's a white, long tail. And it doesn't look like a dog tail or a cat tail, and I know it's not a raccoon tail because I've been in 5th grade, and I saw the raccoons have stripes on their tails. So I don't know what it is, but I figure it's a cat, because occasionally, like, you'll see a cat will run through, because the parking garage itself, people can hit the gate and come in, so it's open. The gates are open, and then there's bars where, like a cat could jump in. So I'm at the desk, and I look, and I see the tail, and then it backs up further, and I see, at first, I just see this small head. Like, I don't know what it is, and it looks like a cat, and I go, that's not a fucking cat. It's a possum. So I'm at the desk, And it's a pretty good sized possum. The tail is long. It looks like a rat tail, and it goes down. It tapers off, and it's got its back to me. Like it's weirdly backing up. Like I don't know what it's doing. So then part of me thinks it's facing off with another possum. And it's backing down, and they're about to have a big fucking possum fight. What the fuck am I going to do? So I see him, and he's backing up like maybe he's moonwalking. I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but he doesn't see me because he's not looking at me. So I'm like, oh, dude, that's fucking crazy looking. Like I've seen possums running, but never this close. I mean, it's about 30 feet from me. And I have a clear shot of it. So I go to grab my iPhone. I'm going to take a picture of it. Because I'm nothing if not attentive and constantly looking for a story. Apparently, I'm a news reporter. So I take my iPhone, and I must tell you, I'm new with my iPhone. And by the way, let me tangentially say this. I've had my iPhone now for 2 weeks. I can't let it out of my sight. Like I'm so afraid it's gonna break. I cradle it like a baby chick. Like I want to put it in, I want to have a plaster cast for it or something, or maybe cut a hole in my chest and be able to plug it in like Iron Man's like power pack. Because it's every time Karen will go to use it, she'll be like, "Hey, can I see your phone?" And I'll hand it to her, and literally it'll be like this, like Lily, hold out your hand, like say, "Can I see your phone?" Yeah, here, take it. That's a computer. Like I put it in her hand and I go, "That's a computer. That's a $600 phone. Don't do it." And she's like, "What am I going to do? I'm punching buttons. Jesus." And I'm like, "I don't know if you're going to fucking Bruce Banner the shit out of it and put your finger through the goddamn glass." Now, and my favorite part is she would never do that. I might. I'm the asshole who might do that. She never would, but it doesn't mean that I can't fucking panic. So I should tell you, the iPhone to me is just, it is Christ-like. I refuse to let bad things happen to it. It's as if I had a child. Honestly, I'm never going to have kids. This is as close as I'm going to come right now to having a kid as an iPhone. Because it's like I baby it, and I look at it, and I stroke its hair and put it to sleep. So it's on my desk. The possum's doing the backup dance. I grab it, and I'm like, oh, all right. And I still don't know how to use the iPhone very well, I'll be honest. So I pick up the phone, and I push it, and then it says camera. And so or photos or whatever. So I click on that, and I hit the wrong button, and I want to take a picture of the desk. Because I like, as I lifted it up, I punched it at the same time. So then I go, damn it. And I look up, and the possum turns around. He's finished backing up, and he looks into the office. And like the light catches his eyes, and he's got a scary possum face. Like I don't even know. Like it's this weird, like it's like he's just backing up. He's like, everything's cool. I'm gonna get a picture of him. This is great. And then he turns around. Oh no! Look at that face. Like he's got a possum face. Holy fuck! What's gonna happen? So it's no big deal, because animals they just get scared and they run away, and that's fine. It works out perfect. So I have the iPhone, and like I said, I accidentally took a picture of the desk, and I deleted it, and then I went to hit, and I look up, and he turns around, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and there's that moment where he sees me and I see him. So I'm like, oh, I got to get a picture of him because now he's facing me, and I go to pick the picture up, and he goes to run. Okay. He doesn't go to run away. He comes in the fucking building. I'm holding the phone, and I've got the thing up, and I'm going to take a picture, and I'm like, oh, this is... And then he starts to come at me. He comes in to the motherfucking the apartment building. Because he's in the parking garage, and I can see him at a distance. And then I see him, and he sees me. I see him, and it's like, oh, he's gonna run away. And he starts to kind of like lope in to the apartment building. I lose my fucking mind. Like, I don't know. Again, I don't like when the television comes to life. I don't like when people address me or things happen toward me. I'm not a fan of that. So I make eye contact with him, and I figure, I got to get a picture of him before he gets scared and runs away. He's not fucking scared, and he's not running away. He's running at me. I freak out. Fuck iPhone, baby. I drop it. I stand up in the air. I run. I try to run to the fucking... Because this is what I do. Instead of just saying go away or shoo, I run to get and slam the fucking door because I don't want him coming into the small office. Because I'm in a tiny office and there's a lobby. He starts to come into the lobby. He's coming right for me. Like, it's not even an issue. He's not coming to check the mail. He's just loping in. He's coming right at me. So I fucking get up and I run and I knock over. I got a chair with my bags and my computer bag on it. I fucking knock it over. I come around the corner and I just fucking like slam the door. Boom! And I'm like... And the building, like the lobby itself is, there's the door is a door. It's an actual door. But then there's windows all around. And I fucking peek out the window. He's right there. And he scratches. He scratches on the motherfucking door. Like he wants in. He's coming to fucking get me. I don't know if it's just like no pictures allowed or what the fuck's going on. But now I got a fucking renegade possum at like 3:15 in the morning coming after me right from my goddamn jugular. So I'm freaked. I don't know what to do. You know what I do? Like I said, I peek out the window. He's scratching on the door. He's scratching, and he puts his hand under the door, like underneath. Like I see it. I see his little fucking possum claw. Like I thought they were supposed to run away. What is he doing? He's scratching. He's kind of sniffing around the door. I lock the door. I reach over and I lock the doorknob. Like he's gonna take his fucking tiny possum tail and somehow manipulate it around the doorknob and open it up and come in. Are you kidding me? Honestly, if he can fucking open a door, if he can work a doorknob with his possum tail, you don't think he can pick a lock with that goddamn possum tail? The fuck are you doing locking the door? The stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. Honestly, the stupidest move I've ever done in my life. Slam the goddamn door, possum out there, scritch, scritch, scritch. I see his little possum hand underneath, lock the door. Yeah, that's good. That's going to turn this situation around. If only this building could see how safe they are right now. As you cower like a child in this office, waiting for D. Wallace to save you from the goddamn possum outside the door. I'm breathing so heavy. It's like I'm just like, I'm like a lady. I'm like kind of panting, and I'm looking out the window at him, and he's looking. So I think he realizes at that point that I'm beaten. He knows that he's got me. It's like in prison. Honestly, it was like I was in prison. I'm that fucking possum's bitch. He saw me like a girl scramble, slam the door, and you know what? He was probably like, all right, well, I'll get in there. And then he heard it lock, and he's like, I own this motherfucker. That's it. This possum fucking owned me. I'm looking out the little window, and he decides, you know what? I'm not going anywhere. He starts walking around the lobby. He's just fucking chilling out possum style, man. He starts walking. He walks over by the elevator. And I'm like, I'm literally, I'm in Cujo. I'm in the car. I'm in this little space. I'm waiting for him to climb up and just start drooling all over the goddamn fucking window. I'm shaking. I'm scared of the possum. Why? What's he going to do to me? Nothing. But why did he come after me? That's something. I can't dismiss out of hand that this possum's got an agenda. He's fucking coming for me. But that's good, no, because I locked the door, so I'm safe. So I'm looking out. He just fucking cock of the walk. He's walking around the lobby, and now, okay, the building itself, the office has, like I said, it's got windows and walls, but at the top, it's open. The walls are open at the top. There's bars. There's not solid wall. So part of me goes, holy fuck, what if he climbs up and he comes in from the top? So I'm starting to think about what I can put up there to block it. And I'm like, dude, all of my zombie training, all of my what I would do if the zombie attack came, went right out the motherfucking window. If that possum was a zombie coming to eat my brain, I'd have been dead in fucking 9 seconds. Seriously. Because I just look up and I start to think about what I can do to block it. And I'm like, all right. So I actually start to break this down military style. I'm like, okay, fuck, there's a TV here. I got a VCR. If I put the VCR there, it blocks this. I'm actually plotting it. Meanwhile, the possum, he's walking around. He climbs up. There's chairs in the lobby. He climbs up on a chair. And just lays down like a cat would. He just lays down on the chair. Again, he runs the place. He's not fucking worried about me doing anything. But all I can think of is now he's a little higher, so now he can definitely scritch up the goddamn wall and fucking come over the top after me, and then I'm going to have to wrestle this goddamn possum. So then I'm like, I should unlock the door so I can get the fuck out of here if he comes to the top. If he swoops in and it's fucking possum death from on high, I got to have a fucking escape route. Oh my God. So then I climb up on the counter. and I start to put stuff, try to fit it over the walls so he doesn't come in after me. And then it dawns on me, like I look, and I'm like, I'm off the ground. I'm a 1950s housewife. I'm Blondie on a stool, and there's a mouse, and I'm scared shitless of it. I might as well have just yelled eek. Seriously, I should have just said eek. Meanwhile, the possum is out on the chair, reading a book. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's sniffing around fake plants. He's sitting in a goddamn chair. I don't even, like I said, I don't think he had any intention of coming after me. He's just enjoying the moment. He's enjoying the triumph. So I'm up on the countertop, and I'm like, now I peek. I try to get up high, and I jump a little bit, and I go, psst, psst, like I'm trying to scare him, like by saying, psst, or go away. And I go, go away, go away. I say, go away. He's not a human being. You lock the door, you say, go away? It's a goddamn possum. Be a man. So I lean up, and I'm just like, psst, go away. Shh, go away. And I start to hit the window. Like, that's going to scare him? He's not scared. He runs the place. He might as well have just said, you know what, I'm going to take a 2-bedroom. Give me the keys. Slide him out. And fuck me if I wouldn't have had to rent it to him. Because honestly, at that point, he owns me. And I was going to call Karen. Because, like I said, it's like 3:15, 3:30. Now it's 3:30, so it's been about 15 minutes with this ordeal. And I'm going to call her and go, I don't know what to do. Like, I need help from her. And then I was going to tell her to come here and, like, honk the horn outside. And, like, maybe he'd be distracted. I don't know what to do. But then I'm like, you can't call your wife at 3:15 in the morning to save you from a possum? You fucking woman? So I sit in the counter, and I go, I don't know what to do. Like, I hope he leaves. I hope he leaves before 6 a.m. when I got to take off. And then I look out, and I see him. He's like, he's on the chair, and he jumps down on the ground. And then he's smelling, and he walks over, and he comes to the door again. And he starts, like, kind of sniffing, like, and he puts his little hands underneath. And the reason I think this happened is because, like, 2 weeks ago, Karen came over, and she spilled soup in the building, like right by that wall, by the door jamb. And now I think that he just likes Chinese soup. Like, I mean, the possum's there, and he caught a whiff of Chinese soup. So in my head now, I'm like, well, this isn't about me. This is about soup. I'm trying to convince myself that the possum does not have an agenda, and he's not coming after me. So I'm like, no, I'm not scared of him. Oh, he just wants soup. But I don't know. And then I'm like, I don't have any soup to give him. Oh, fuck. So sure enough, he comes over, and he starts to sniff, and he puts his hands underneath again. And this time I get brave, and I punch the door, like right where he is. I hit it as hard, like not as hard as I can, but I just like, boom, boom, boom. I hit it 3 times, and then he fucking turns tail and he splits. So I guess I showed him who's fucking boss. As I was trapped like a lady for fucking 15 minutes by a renegade possum who came after me. And I fucking hit the door, and then I just sat on the floor. Like, whew, like I was so relieved I didn't open the door right away. Because I'm wondering if he's going to get his possum friends, his possum posse. Maybe he's got a possum posse. I don't want to see them show up. So I just sat there on the floor for like another 10 minutes until I was sure that he wasn't coming back. And then I opened the door, and I was fine. And I stood up, and I opened the door. And I went out to the lobby, and I snuck out to like the parking garage, and I looked around. And what was funny is then I went out to the parking garage, and I looked around, and then part of me wanted to turn around and see him in the office. How great would that have been if he had like hidden, I snuck out, and then he's just sitting there at the desk like staring at me. Possum face, tail whipping around. But I went out to the parking garage, and he wasn't there. And then I came back into the office, and I look on the floor, and there's my fucking iPhone. 15 minutes I had to get a photo of this entire fucking thing happening. I could have filmed it. And it could have been the Blair Possum Project. I could have filmed the whole fucking thing. Shaky handheld cell phone and put it on YouTube. That would have been fucking hysterical. Guy trapped by possum can't recover. That would have been brilliant. Instead, I chose to go the other route. I chose to put on an apron and pull my skirt up around my knees and scream eek and stand on a fucking high spot. What a fucking goof. So I don't mind a late night record now, although I will keep my head on a swivel to make sure that I don't get taken down on my way out to the car. Because the word's out now, folks. Word is out among the wildlife crew. They know I can be had. You guys can get me at Mike at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can get me at MySpace.com/MikeSchmidtComedy. You guys can get me at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. And as always, that's the number 40. And you can get our friend Lily Von Stupp. You can get her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lili Lily at burlesque411.com. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, host of the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast, which you're listening to right now. Wanted to tell you about Skull Pie t-shirts and year one download sets available now for your college student or for your toddler or your preteen. Any children that are going back to school would appreciate this as a gift. So go ahead and pick up a Skull Pie t-shirt. These are available at MikeSchmidtComedy.com, or get a year one download set, also available at MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Lily's laughing, and she won't laugh out loud, so it's throwing me off. It's a little strange. So go ahead and pick up year one download sets and Skull Pie t-shirts for yourself, for your college student, again, for any child that you might have, any child you might know about. I know my audience tends to get around. I am dumb. All right, so go ahead and pick up a year one download set, pick up a Skull Pie t-shirt, all from the 40-Year-Old Boy podcast. That's right, the 40-Year-Old Boy. 52 episodes, $25, one brutally funny podcast. Folks, don't forget that the Monday Night Tease is every Monday night. That's why they call it the Monday Night Tease. It is at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. This coming Monday, there is a special show called
The Mini Top Circus.
The Mini Top Circus. Could not get a big top in there. Although if you were there, come on, how do you not bill it as a big top circus? Were you going mini top like they're going to be wearing mini tops, or was it the play on big top?
It was a play on big top.
Yeah, but with you there, come on, that's a big top. Let's be honest. Lily will be there with her big tops under the mini top. So it's a circus, and then there's clowns and animals and
we got clowns and jugglers and lion tamers and tightrope walkers and a girl escaping from a straitjacket and a man eating chicken and all sorts of insanity.
Would you like to book a possum for that show? Because I think I know where to find one. He's always 20 feet behind me at this point with his scary-ass possum face. Folks, that story, again, you might not think that possums are scary. Google possum face or Google possum. And because then the morning I came home and I told Karen, I can't believe I'm still spiraling off into this, but I told Karen like the next morning, and she's like, oh my God, that's scary. Because we have a running joke. Like whenever we see a cat, I'll be like, oh no, there's a monster. Like I always call cats monsters. I don't know why. I just always do. Between me and my wife, you do stupid things with your wife, don't you? So and there's this one particular monster who lives in our neighborhood. And we're always like, oh, let's go find the monster. And then we'll see him. And I've actually taken pictures of him, like at like 6 in the morning, and bring him home to Karen. And I'm like, look, I saw the monster. But there was no joking around with this motherfucker. This was not even like, it wasn't even like, ha, look at the monster. It was like, oh my God, he's going to bite me. Like it was just. So I came home and I told Karen, I go, dude, and I told her the possum story. And she, like, as I'm talking to her, she just Googles possum and hits it, and it shows up. And he's like, like, it might have even been him. Quite frankly, it might have been him. In one of his previous attacks, someone had the wherewithal to hold their camera and take a photo and then post it on the internet. Because I did not, folks. I shook like a child and dropped my phone on the ground. My phone that I could not care more about. I literally threw it to the ground to slam a door and keep the possum from taking me out. Oh, God, it's scary. I have goosebumps now. And his scary face. And, like, he would look up from the fucking, like, the chair and just kind of smile. Like, he knew. He fucking knew. All right. God, I'm used and abused by that motherfucker. All right. And I'm no good now. I'm no good. When I go back to Gen Pop, they know he owned me. They know I'm used goods. He's going to pass me around for fucking cigarettes now to his other possum friends. From now on, I'll be in that office. Word's going to get out. He's going to tell all of them. He's going to be like, oh, dude, you know what? Go in there. And next thing you know, like a fucking armadillo is going to come in there or a raccoon. They're going to be the fucking eye. And they're going to see me run and close the door and they're going to laugh. I wouldn't be shocked if they fucking got iPhones and took pictures of me trapped inside the goddamn plexiglass. If somehow they went ahead and looked at me inside the plexiglass and took fucking photos of me. Ha ha ha. Just this weird menagerie, like fucking, you know, I'm not even like Dr. Doolittle. I'm fucking Dr. Do Nothing. That's who I was. I was Dr. Do Nothing in my plexiglass tomb. I was like the guy working at the gas station last week, praying that thin door would keep this possum away from me. What a fucking pussy I am. God, I'm a pussy. All right. So much so that I had to bring it up now. So go to this circus show and dream of like, and think of, be careful, because animals are tricky. They'll come after you. I'm off animals. I'm done. That's it. And remember, you guys can get us at Facebook, as I said, and all that stuff. I'm done with animals. I can't anymore. Because I used to have a great idea about animals. Here's the thing. I used to think that with animals, here's what I thought about zoos. A zoo is an interesting place, and I think it's a fun place, but I think it should not only be like a place to go look at animals, I think it should be a mall. I think a zoo is not only like an informational trip, I think it should be a fucking shopping trip. This is America. If you can afford to buy one of the animals and take it home, you should be able to. The zoo is not just like for looking, the zoo's for buying. Let's go ahead and make some fucking cash here. I mean, this is, again, like I said, this isn't Russia. This is fucking America. If I want to bring home a fucking penguin and I can afford it, why can't I bring home a goddamn penguin? I go into the fucking house, they do the little dance, there's some woman telling me about what's going on, we're in the monkey house, and I'm like, terrific, I want to bring that fucking rhesus monkey home, put him in a bag. That's how it should work. But not anymore. You know, maybe the animals knew of my arrogance. The animals knew of my plan to turn zoos into a commerce-based business. And they were like, fuck that, we'll scare this motherfucker straight. And that's what they did. I got scared straight by a possum. That's exactly what happened. He was the Mike Tyson of possums with a scary fucking face. He actually had a tattoo on his face, and he had a tattoo of Mao on his arm, on his possum arm. I saw it when he put it under the door. Oh, crazy. But why wouldn't zoos? That would work out perfect for zoos. Zoos should have people that come in and go, hey, this penguin's cute. I want to buy it. That keeps a zoo afloat. And then they go back to Penguin Town and they get another penguin and they bring it out. Wherever the fuck they live. I don't know where they live. Where the hell do penguins live? The Arctic. But the Arctic's melting. So they're happy. Penguins are happy. Seriously, if you were a penguin, you're like, fuck, everything's melting. You know what? I bet some kid named Robert in Biloxi would like a penguin. So you know what you do? You just pretend like you're drunk. You're like, you penguin out, and you look for a penguin trap, and you're like, whoop, I'm going to fall in there, boom, and hope you're going to a zoo rather than a fucking tuxedo shop. And then they take you to the fucking zoo. You're in there, and then you like go there and you do a little crazy Happy Feet dance. You're like, hey, remember Happy Feet in the March of Me? I'm really cute. Bring me home. And then Robert in Biloxi goes, I want a penguin. He takes you home, and next thing you know, you're banging around in his yard with cinder blocks and a fucking burned out car. There you go. Penguin wins, Robert wins, you win. Everybody wins because the Arctic is fucking melting. Let's get these penguins and get them out of here. I think you should be able to go to a zoo and buy an animal, but not a fucking possum. Oh, god damn it, it was creepy. So again, Google possum and look at his face because he turned around and he fucking wheeled on me and he looked at me and it was just, it was not good. Oh, follow me on Twitter. I forgot about that. I'm trying to think about, like, do I have another plug? Yeah, follow me at twitter.com/the40year-old-boy. Go to facebook.com. The 40-year-old boy, Lily Von Stupp at Burlesque 411, and yeah, that's that. And go to Facebook and be my friend. And you know what? It's funny. I got a poll, like a thing sent to me today, and it was like, join this page to keep pedophiles off of Facebook. You know what? Ignore. I fucking hit ignore immediately because I think that's part of the challenge of Facebook. Quite frankly. Someone wants to be your friend, you got to size them up just from the photos they've included. Facebook is like a big game. It's like a game of Clue. Like you're looking at that person whether they want to be your friend or not, and you're like, do I think that Colonel Mustard will do me with a rope in the conservatory if I become his friend? I'm not so sure. So you got to go ahead and decide. So I say, sex offenders, everybody can come onto Facebook. Go ahead, get on there, and it's on you. If you want to be friends with them, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a decent guy because I am a jerk. And I'm not a jerk. Man, I'm an awful guy. I'm not an awful guy. I am not a good guy. But I don't think I'm a bad person overall. So, and go ahead and by all means judge that. I'm kind of a jagoff. I got no future. What am I talking about? But I am a jagoff. And I'm not a jerk. I'm a nice guy. It's just I guess I have jerky tendencies. I've done so much ridiculous stuff, and then I wonder afterwards, I'm like, man, how come I don't hang out with anybody? Here's why, because you're a dick.
finished.
You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished. You're finished.